The Golden State Warriors and the Los Angeles Clippers are officially showing interest in New Orleans Pelicans guard Jrue Holiday. What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got some more NBA news to talk about with you guys. Again, we've heard recently a lot that the Warriors would be interested in Jrue Holiday, and the news is, really heating up with it currently being reported by Tom Haberstroh now. I don't know if he was the one that reported the last Jrue Holiday Golden State Warriors news, but it's currently being reported that the Warriors will pursue a trade for, Jrue Holiday by him. While again, many reports that the Clippers have interest in trading for Jrue Holiday. That is being reported by Brandon Robinson. Now, again, before we get into the Golden State Warriors kind of side about it, I really wanted to touch on the Clippers side of it, considering this is a lot of new news because, again, we didn't really know this until very recently now, but I'm not exactly too sure if I really rate the Jrue Holiday and Clippers move that much. Now, it was very easy to see two huge issues that the Clippers had in the playoffs. They obviously barely have any depth at center. I mean, they potentially got Zubac as center. He's okay, he's serviceable, but on $10 million, I feel like he's very much overpaid. While you also have Montrezl Harrell, who kind of comes off the bench and plays that backup, center position. I have a lot of issues with Montrezl Harrell. I've spoken about this before where I don't really like the way he goes about it. Look, for his height, he needs to, be pretty much a power forward. I mean, he's not tall enough to play center, and that's why he sometimes very much struggles to guard certain center players. I feel like he's a genuine power forward, especially with his height and just the way he plays the game with his versatility. But there's one very big issue about his game, and that's the fact that he can't shoot. I feel like if he could shoot, he would be such a nice player, and he would get so much more money, and it would be, so much easier to fit him into that kind of power forward position. But because he can't shoot, teams are kind of, being forced to play him at center, and it's just clear to see that I don't necessarily know if it works. The Clippers also desperately need a point guard. One that's a very offensive heavy, that is a very nice playmaker, because the playmaking is obviously clear to see that it's not exactly that great at the Clippers, and in my opinion, it doesn't make any sense at all for them to have Patrick Beverley that much on the team. It's clear to see that the Clippers have enough defense. What they need again is playmaking and some more offensive power at that point guard position. So why would they, sign Patrick Beverley on a 3-year, $10 million, per season deal, when Beverley is an average playmaker? He's not great offensively, but he's a pretty decent defender. But again, that's not what the Clippers need. The Clippers don't need defense. So if I was the Clippers, I would be looking for options to move Patrick Beverley. I would also be looking, maybe not to re-sign Montrezl Harrell, especially if he's wanting more than $20 million per season. I would look at, potentially maybe moves for Zubac. There's a couple of things I would really, like to do. But again, Julius Randle is a very nice, Jrue Holiday, sorry, I don't know why I keep saying Julius Randle, but Jrue Holiday is a very, very nice offensive player. But again, he's more defensive and he's a decent playmaker. But I just feel like there could be some better playmakers out there that they should, go and get, and some more better players offensively than potentially Jrue Holiday. So I don't necessarily know if I like the move of Jrue Holiday. Look, I'm not saying it's a bad move. I just feel like there could maybe potentially be some better moves that they could go out and do. And again, Jrue Holiday has played a lot of that kind of, shooting guard position in recent times on the Pelicans, sorry. So if he was to be traded to the Clippers, then he would most likely, be playing the point guard position, a position he hasn't really played in a little bit. But again, I don't feel like it would be too much of a shift for him to go and actually play that position. So I don't think it would really matter too much. But again, Jrue Holiday, he does average 7 assists, so 6.7. He is a really nice playmaker. I just don't necessarily know. I feel like there could be some better playmakers out there for them to potentially get. But again, Jrue Holiday, I'd still say he's an above average playmaker. He's a pretty decent offensive player. He's 35% from 3. But yeah, if he could come in, maybe be the main point guard of the team, then I could definitely see his assist numbers going up to about 7 to 8. So, you know what? The more and more I do talk about it, I do like the move a lot more. But again, I just feel like there could be some better players to go for that would be a lot cheaper, who are better offensively than what maybe Jrue Holiday would potentially be. You know, I've heard a lot of people talk about that they should go and get Derrick Rose. I think Derrick Rose to the Clippers would actually be a very, very nice move. I mean, when Rose was playing on the Detroit Pistons, he obviously, you know, he was dropping 18 points per game as the sixth man on 26 minutes per game, while also having 5.6 assists per game. And that is pretty incredible considering he barely had anyone to like pass to the whole entire time. So I feel like if Derrick Rose could, you know, potentially get with all these better players, you know, in Kawhi Leonard, etc., he could improve his assists per game to about 6. And again, Derrick Rose is only on $6 million, I believe, like a $6 to $7 million contract. So I feel like he'd be a lot cheaper than Jrue Holiday, and he's possibly better offensively, I think, maybe than what Jrue Holiday could be. Again, it's just if Derrick Rose could play more than 26 minutes per game. You know, Derrick Rose and Jrue Holiday, I believe Holiday averages at least 2 points per game more than Rose, but again, Holiday is playing about 8 minutes per game than Rose. So again, I'm not exactly too sure. I guess it's a little bit of a debate on who's better offensively. I just think it would make a lot more sense maybe to go out and get Derrick Rose, considering he is on $6 million or $6 to $7 million. So again, I really do like that move. But Jrue Holiday wouldn't exactly be that bad for the Clippers. I just don't necessarily think it's the best move for them to go and make. But anyway, moving on to the Golden State Warriors now. I also feel like, you know, Golden State, this is a very interesting move. I actually spoke about it in the previous video. It seems that Golden State are very, very optimistic on trying to run this real small ball lineup. We saw them previously go out and trade for, you know, D'Angelo Russell, even though at, you know, that point, some people kind of just thought they were only getting D'Lo just so they could get, you know, something in return for Kevin Durant. Yes, I feel like that could have been one of the reasons they got D'Lo, but I genuinely believe there was some interest by the Golden State Warriors to actually see if a very small ball lineup of Steph Curry at point guard, D'Angelo Russell at shooting guard, and Klay Thompson at small forward, I genuinely believe they actually wanted to give that a chance and, you know, see if it worked. Obviously, we didn't get to see if it worked or not. We only got like 4 games with Steph and D'Angelo Russell together. We never got any games with the big 3 together at all. So, again, it does make me think, are the Golden State Warriors actually wanting to really give this experiment another go and see if it would work with a more defensive-minded and a lot better defender in Jrue Holiday? Look, I don't necessarily like Klay Thompson at that small forward position at all, but I definitely feel like there is, you know, a potential chance that this could actually work really nicely. Again, although I do rate Klay Thompson better at playing that shooting guard position, it's not to say that he couldn't adjust to the small forward position. Not just that, Jrue Holiday is an amazing defender. You know, again, I've touched on it a couple times in this video. He's an amazing defender, and I feel like if you were, you know, to run a small ball lineup with anyone, Jrue Holiday would definitely be one of those players just because his defense is so elite. I mean, let's look at this, you know, fact. Jrue Holiday is not necessarily, you know, that tall at all. I mean, he's about, I'd say, the size of a point guard. I do believe, yeah, he is 191 centimeters. So, yeah, about a point guard to shooting guard type of height, you know, 6'3". But we have seen at times Jrue Holiday actually go and guard that small forward position as well. You know, it was very rare we've seen it at the Pelicans, but it's not exactly like he did bad at it all. He actually did pretty average. So, if we could see, you know, maybe Jrue Holiday and Klay Thompson, who is 6'5", I believe, you know, kind of run this small ball lineup, then there's no really way of, you know, deciding if it would actually work or not. Because, again, we haven't seen much of Klay Thompson at small forward. We haven't seen much of Jrue Holiday rotating at, you know, small forward. But, you know, nevertheless, him actually playing on it as a shooting guard with a smaller, you know, small forward in Klay Thompson, who would be 6'5". Again, I just genuinely believe it would be very interesting. And it does sound very much like Golden State Warriors to push the boundary and see if they could run, you know, a potential death ball, small ball lineup. So I'm very intrigued to see if they could do it, and I just think it would be a very interesting thing. Now, let's just say both these teams were to offer a trade to get Jrue Holiday. What would they look to trade the New Orleans Pelicans? Now, again, I don't feel like Golden State would be able to get a trade done just based on the fact that I don't feel like the Pelicans would be really interested in Andrew Wiggins. I think it would have to be Andrew Wiggins, maybe a first round pick and a second for Jrue Holiday, just based on the fact that Wiggins' contract is so outrageous. I mean, Jrue Holiday is so much better of a player than Andrew Wiggins, yet Wiggins will be making an extra $8 million for the next, couple more years than what Jrue Holiday will be on. Not just that, I just don't know if he necessarily fits in with the way the New Orleans Pelicans go about it. But again, if a trade was to be offered up, I feel like it would be Wiggins, a second round pick, and a first, just to, you know, sweeten up that bad contract that the Warriors would be giving the New Orleans Pelicans. But again, it's never to say that the Pelicans wouldn't accept that they'd have, you know, Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson, Andrew Wiggins, Lonzo Ball, Josh Hart, Jackson Hayes, whoever they select in this year's draft, you know, Nickeil Alexander-Walker. They would have one of the best young cores in the league, and Wiggins is still relatively young, so it would be a very interesting move by them. But yeah, I still would really like to see Golden State maybe stick to that experiment of keeping Andrew Wiggins and just kind of see how that would all go. But if we move on to the Clippers side of things, what the Clippers would maybe offer would be also very, very interesting. I feel like the Clippers would most likely do a sign and trade for Montrezl Harrell. You know, it's been very much believed at this point that Montrezl Harrell and the Clippers may not have a mutual agreement. You know, look, Harrell wants about $20 million plus per season. The Clippers aren't going to want to offer him that. Not just that, I don't feel like Montrezl Harrell necessarily fits that much with the Clippers team. And he wasn't exactly that great in the playoffs. So I feel like it would be a sign and trade of Montrezl Harrell. Maybe. So Montrezl Harrell, maybe a player like JaMychal Green or someone like that, and a couple of second round picks, or maybe a first round pick. And actually, it'd probably be a couple of second round picks just based on the fact that the Clippers don't really have any first round picks. So again, I do feel like, you know, Montrezl Harrell, a couple second round picks, and maybe JaMychal Green or something would most likely get the deal done. And it's not to say that, you know, Montrezl Harrell wouldn't really fit that well with, you know, the New Orleans Pelicans. I feel like he would play a lot of minutes as center, and it wouldn't be, you know, that bad because Zion Williamson is a, you know, pretty decent defender at power forward as well. So again, it'd just be really interesting to see how that would go. I still feel like, you know, the New Orleans Pelicans, considering there's rumors Derrick Favors might actually leave, you know, they've got Jackson Hayes as their future center. I feel like it'd be a lot more beneficial for them to go out and actually sign maybe a center that could space the floor. And that's obviously not what Montrezl Harrell is, unless they believe Montrezl Harrell could maybe improve his shooting eventually. But again, I'm definitely curious to see how this could go. I don't feel like the Pelicans are going to want to offer or trade Jrue Holiday at all. I feel like Golden State, they're not going to be able to get a deal done. The Pelicans aren't going to want Wiggins. While I don't necessarily know if the Clippers have enough to give up to get, you know, Jrue Holiday. And again, I just feel like the New Orleans Pelicans want to run it back. They had an extremely successful season with Jrue Holiday at shooting guard, and I just feel like it makes the most amount of sense and a lot more sense for them to actually keep Jrue Holiday rather than trading him. But anyway, I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for the latest NBA news and NBA content. But of course, don't forget to comment in the comment section down below. What are you guys' thoughts and opinions on this? Do you guys think it'd be a good idea for the New Orleans Pelicans to trade Jrue Holiday? Do you guys think the Golden State Warriors or the New Orleans Pelicans should actually go out and trade for him? Again, I definitely would really like to know all you guys' thoughts and opinions on it down below. But as I was saying, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.